Off-road short course racing got its start at Riverside International Raceway. It combined the obstacles of the desert with the closeness of fender-to-fender racing. Over the years, the SCORE Off-Road World Championships grew into the benchmark by which other short course events were measured. Riverside International Raceway closed, leaving behind the legend of Thompson's Ridge, a high-speed section where vehicles and men hung on for dear life. The best and worst of Baja in a 2-mile course. But now, the SCORE Off-Road World Championships have a new home here at Phoenix International Raceway. Hello again, everybody. Marty Reed, welcome to Saturday. Conditions for today's race: the temperature is a cool 91 degrees for this time of year in Phoenix. Humidity 12%. The winds are from the east at 8 miles per hour, and there is absolutely no chance of rain. Let's give you a look at the more difficult sections of this course from our BFG in-car camera with Frank Scoop Vessels. Jerry?
Now this is going through the mud hole area, Marty. You want to go around to the left of that. That's the quick way around here. Then you've got a big jump you're going to go over right there. Land real hard. Kind of spin around. A little bit of asphalt here before you head down the front straightaway where they got a series of jumps. You might get 10, 15 feet in the air along here.
Now Scoop is just about ready to pass the finish line. You can see the platform there. He just went by and heading for the asphalt.
Got to be careful through here. It's very narrow, very slippery, very muddy. Can't get out of control there. You turn it over, hit a wall real easy.
You can see how he power slides through. His co-rider likes it here on this practice lap. And then another hard left-hand 180-degree turn. In starting lineup for today's Class 8 championship race, Walker Evans from Riverside, California will be in the Dodge, numbered 802. And Robbie Gordon from Orange, California in the 803 Venable Ford Racing Machine.
Number 800, Frank Vessels from Mountain Center, California, and Roger Rolfe from Laguna Hills, California, in number 801.
And as we're just about ready for the green flag, let's give you the rest of the field. Number 804, Dick Normandin from Hemet, California. 808 is Mike Renkus from Crandon, Wisconsin. And 818 is Mike Doherty from Tucson, Arizona. And there goes the green flag. And as expected, Jerry, the big three move out front.
Now we can see from our BFG in-car camera just how muddy it is out here. They've had to water down the track to keep the dust down, and the guys behind the leader are going to get a lot of mud in the early going.
Well, can you imagine how much Frank Vessels just ate if our in-car camera took as much of a bath? That is Robbie Gordon in front, Walker Evans second, Frank Vessels in third.
Now you can see what I mean about how muddy it is. It's just glistening down that front straightaway from the water truck, and the people behind Robbie Gordon are really going to get a face full of mud in the early going.
Now you can see that Gordon has made the transition from the dirt to the asphalt in this switchback area. 2 180-degree turns, and this really chews up tires, Jerry.
We put on nice soft tires for the mud, but then when you get on the pavement, those soft tires just get erased like a eraser on a pencil.
Gordon into the rough area there in the mogul section, the whoops as they are called in the sport, almost tags the wall. Walker Evans as they come under the Goodyear Bridge, which is actually turn 4 here at Phoenix International. And meanwhile, that's Mike Renkus in the 808. Roger Rolfe spins him around in the 801 as they come together in that switchback area.
That is such a tight area, Marty. So tough for trucks to make through. There's really only one line. Now, back down the front straightaway, Robbie Gordon is stretching it out over Walker Evans.
Well, stay with us. We'll be back with more of tonight's action on Saturday night. And that is Robbie Gordon in front of Walker Evans.
Now, Robbie has managed to stretch his margin over Walker. Walker's having a hard time keeping up at this point, and I think the reason is that Robbie's truck is set up so well for this track.
This is Frank Scoop Vessels flying by some slower traffic. He is now running in third place
and enjoying a little clearer vision as the track quickly dries out and the mud lets up.
You know, Scoop is really an interesting person, and we recently had a chance to spend some time with him away from the track. Your daddy with them, and he's in third place right now. I'd like to be in front of these two, Jerry.
I'll tell you, it's going to be tough to get past a guy like Robbie Gordon, especially in the switchback area because it's so tight. Really, one car is about all that can go through there at a time.
Walker Evans again. Robbie getting a little nose heavy, but look at the way he recovers. He is so smooth.
He has really been a good driver on this type of course right from the beginning. He's one of the few drivers that has done well in the desert and on short courses. It seems like you either do well on one or the other, and Robbie just adapted to both right away.
Well, the man behind him is certainly no slouch to the short course, Walker Evans.
Yes, but it did take him 5 years, as good as he is, to win his first short course truck race.
And of course, again, he heads back onto the dirt, up through the rhythm section as it gets extremely rough through here. Well, stay with us as we take a look at the top 5 leaderboard. The only change, Dick Norman developing. Well, we want to tell you about a couple of upcoming events. If you want to see off-road short course racing at its best, we'll be in Crandon, Wisconsin, June 23rd and 24th for the annual spring run. And then in Rosamond, California, August 11th and 12th for the HDRA Championships at Willow Springs Raceway. And we're looking forward to both those events. Marty Reed and Jerry Garrett, as we are watching Robbie Gordon put on a clinic. He has opened up a huge lead now over Walker Evans.
One of the things that they're worried about out here is running too fast in this heat, Marty. It's very hot out here. Temperatures at these speeds are very critical in these trucks, and all the drivers are worried about possible engine failures.
Now here is Scoop Vessels as he heads down the front straightaway. You get an idea just how big the jumps are. And here is Robbie Gordon heading into that same stretch. He has almost lapped Vessels.
That's incredible in a race.
And he goes sideways as Robbie heads back onto the dirt after exiting turn 4 of Phoenix International Raceway and onto the backstretch where that big V8 horsepower, close to 700 horsepower, will be thundering down the backstretch at 95 miles an hour.
That's a little slower than they'd go in the desert, Marty, because they've got like a drag racing rear end in there. And you hear Scoop pulling some real high RPMs in low gear here. They've got drag racing rear ends in there rather than the high top end rear ends that they'd have in the desert.
Now that is turn 1 when there is Walker Evans as he is in second place. You can see just how far behind he is. He has yet to pass through the mud bog section and get into that front straightaway. And here is third place, Frank Vessels, trying to keep himself from being lapped by Robbie Gordon.
Now as Vessels heads towards the Goodyear Bridge area, behind him is the leader, Robbie Gordon, who is just starting his final lap.
It is absolutely astounding that in this short a race that he could almost lap.
Well, a lot of people certainly hope that that's not the case, Marty, and one of those people is Robbie Gordon because he likes desert racing. He thinks this is fun. The other stuff tends to get to be work.
Well, there's also Jim Venable, his truck owner. He doesn't want to see him leave, that's for sure. There is second place, Walker Evans. Here is Robbie Gordon heading around the final turn for the final time as he comes down the main straightaway and heads for the checker flag. Thumbs up from inside the cockpit. There it is, your winner of the Class 8 championship, Robbie Gordon from Orange, California. And look at this, Jerry, putting on a little show for the fans, going to spin it to a stop.
I don't